should probably record too.
Oh, there you go.
You there, Mr. Birch?
I am here. Thank you.
All right. Hello.
Hey, there's
Sorry, how are you all tonight?
We're good.
We're good.
Cindy just got sworn in. Daniel and I just got re-sworn in.
Congratulations.
How do you feel about last meeting's minutes?
I read them. I'm fine with them. I didn't have much to add on the First Amendment section, so
Okay, so we have to talk about the new chair position now that Eric is gone, and co-chair position.
yes.
I would like to nominate Stephen Birch as chair of this planning commission.
I would second that nomination.
I would third that nomination.
Do you need to ask for nominations
Oh.
3 times? No, you're fine.
Okay.
Ask for nominations and see if anybody else is nominated.
Okay.
If not, then you'll post the nomination.
All right, I'll ask for a second time for nominations for anybody else. And I will ask for a third time. Any nominations for anyone else? All right, I think it is final then. Yes? Oh, now we'll vote on Stephen being the chair or not.
Aye.
Aye. All right, so the board has unanimously voted for Steve to be the chair.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
And then do we need to co-share?
Yeah, so Stephen, you'll
Yes,
take
we do.
over the meeting, and if you want to ask for nominations for co-chair. I don't think you heard me.
Oh.
Steve, do you want to go ahead and take over the meeting and ask for nominations for co-chair?
Yes, at this time, I'd like to hear nominations for co-chair.
I would like to nominate Brian Dennis for co-chair to continue that role.
Do we have a second on that motion?
I will second that motion.
Is there any other motions for nominations before the board? If not, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Move is passed. Well, congratulations, Brian.
Uh-huh. Thank you much.
Hopefully I'll see you in person there next month. So where would you like me to begin, Eric?
Eric's not even here.
Go ahead.
Okay, I'm in the unfortunate position at a loss here is that my computer broke during the vacation that I'm on here, so I'm operating on a new device. I have no printer available to me, so I cannot, I could not print the agenda that was placed in my mail packet. Thank you, Cindy and Devin.
So Stephen, if it's okay with you, if you want to go ahead and let.
I'm sorry I missed that, Michelle.
If it's okay with you, you can let Brian run the meeting.
I think that's perfect.
All right. Okay, so we've done that. Now, did everybody get a chance to review the business licenses?
I did.
Anything stick out to anybody?
I think based on Devin's response to my question, I don't have any issues with any of them.
Yeah. I too have no issues. Anybody else? No? Okay. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the business licenses.
I will move to approve the business licenses that were presented.
I will second that motion to the business license.
All right. So that has been approved.
All in favor?
All in favor?
Aye.
There we go. Okay, moving on to the housing action plan. Michelle, you want to talk about that, or do we?
Can you hear me, Stephen?
Barely, but I can, yes.
I can hear you out here. Not in this. 1 second. I'll steal your mic.
Yeah.
Okay, so in your packet was this housing action plan that kind of outlined some housing elements that are going to need to be met by the year 2025, but there is some monies available that we can try to apply for to help us in updating our comprehensive plan that we just updated. So, but it's just one section. It's not the whole plan this time. So it's just that housing element section. So it kind of explains kind of what we need to do. So the highlighted yellow is a new requirement. And so that's why we kind of gave you guys the colored maps of the plan. So you can kind of see what is required. So I wanted you guys to see that and know that we have a little bit of work to do, and we'll hit that running.
So if I look up these RCWs, will it give me some guidance as to how to word these changes?
So we have two drawers here, and one is my planning commission drawer and one is my city council drawer. And I think, and we had packets for both this last Friday. And I think what happened was the information I actually wanted to go to you guys went to city council and to discuss all of that. And I'm just now seeing that it's not in here.
Okay.
So when I saw it in the council packets, I'm like, I don't remember putting it in the council packets. I don't do the packets. I just throw stuff in the drawers for the girls to do them. So I will make sure you get a copy of what it's about. I'm like, huh.
And then
Yeah.
if you could also send me the master Word file.
Okay.
Because the last version I sent to you, I said you're the master of it. So if
Okay.
we're going to start this process again, I'd rather get it back from you.
Okay.
So,
All right. Yeah, that's perfectly fine.
All right.
And then the next thing I wanted to kind of hit on too is this memorandum that came from the Planned Growth Committee, and it's a schedule that they sent for with different dates of things that need to be accomplished by if we plan on doing anything. Right now, I'm already in a fight on our population. So to increase the population allocation for Toledo probably isn't going to be worthwhile this year. The city will be doing a census ourselves. So we cannot start it before March 12th, 15th, something like that, but it has to be done by April, of this year. Yeah, so it's a short timeline that we have to do it by, but it cannot begin before March 12th. So this is just, I wanted to kind of show you the rundown of their schedule for the Planned Growth Committee.
Mhm.
And it doesn't look like they're going to set up a meeting till May or June. So,
Michelle, do we have any input from the potential developers out there on Toledo Vader Road?
yeah, I was going to get to that too in general discussion.
Okay, before we get off of this memorandum, because you
Mhm,
brought up the census mismatch.
mhm.
Do we know which homes they identified as vacant?
No,
Can we
No.
get that information?
No.
We can't.
the census stuff is it's like top secret,
Okay.
information to a point. And then right now we're in the middle of updating our water comprehensive plan and water rights and all that. And I know in the water comp plan, it also, all of our comp plans gel together. And in that plan, they needed some updated numbers too. And they looked at the census figures, the population allocation for Toledo, and they're like, what happened? So I had to explain to them, somehow we lost 100 people. I said, my interest though is if the census was going to have the information out to low to moderate income level at any time soon, and it looked like Toledo was going to hit that mark, I wasn't going to get too excited. because that's an opportunity right now for a lot of grant dollars in some of our water, sewer projects and different things. So they contacted Office of Financial Management, and those census numbers for that part of it is actually not going to be out till like 2023, 2024. So that was a little bit disheartening. So yeah, we'll be doing our own census this year.
And an independent consultant will do this recount?
Yes,
And
yes.
can they accept any information from the city? Or do they,
No.
it's completely black
It
box?
has to be, yeah,
Okay.
totally a separation. And especially because the census we do will be asking for financial information to see if we could get into that low to moderate income level again. It has to be 51% to be eligible for these grants. So that's the portion of it they're really picky about. And
So Michelle, do we have, obviously somewhere we have a list of all the addresses within our city, correct?
yes, yes.
I would think the water
So
bill.
they would be working off of that and then confirming additional units on the site. Let's say there's a second trailer on site that's housing people or a granny flat.
That wasn't
And
the issue with the census. What the issue with the census was, they said there was a high vacancy rate. That we had
Okay.
over 40 homes or 40 units that were vacant. And we know that was not true. But
Right.
yeah, I mean, during the census, there was a lot going on. I know with the census takers themselves, they had a lot of issues hiring people, getting people to stay. And the whole census process during COVID was, it was a tough one, but
And there's probably no way for us to figure out how they counted 40 vacant houses.
no. If we felt that they missed homes, we can fight that. But they have the correct number of homes in the census numbers.
Well, I guess my take would be is that's why I asked if those 40 vacancies, we knew what they were.
Yeah.
But you have water bill, active water accounts.
Yeah, and that's what I tried to throw out there. I mean, I even got Jamie Herrera Butler on it and some others, and so it didn't. Yeah, no, they tried. They did try.
Interesting.
So.
Okay.
I remember.
Any idea what that's going to cost?
When we checked into it 2 years ago, it was over $5,000. Yeah.
And are we, because I keep on hearing that we're supposed to be separate from them, are we going to be allowed to promote that this is happening so people in town know that this is happening?
Yes.
Yeah, okay, that's
Through
good.
media,
Good.
yes,
Good.
yes.
Good.
Definitely.
All right.
And the importance of, when they come up and say, hey, you only make $20,000 and you're saying, oh no, I make, $80,000 and I'm a family of one,
Yeah.
the correct information too, because there's no check on, is she being honest or something like that.
Yeah.
So we want people to be honest.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people would be pretty surprised to find out that any government agency thinks that Toledo has 40 vacant homes.
Yeah.
They would be really surprised by that. And also a little bit upset that means they don't have grant monies. So, so I think that'll be a pretty easy message to convey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with us losing 100 people in population, much of our tax dollars is dependent on, and it's based off of, the population. So we lost out on a lot of tax dollars, which funds our current expense, which funds your parks and your police and even streets too. So, that was a hit.
So how soon do we think we're going to attempt this?
We cannot start it before March 12th.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if we come up with the information and provide it, will they rectify that?
Yes.
Or do they just consider it?
Well, the census won't rectify it, but Office of Financial Management, and they're the ones that kind of control our population numbers and who we send, even our population allocations to. They are the ones that kind of control it, and our tax dollars are dependent on their number. But once the census information came in, they had to take the census numbers. So it's a confusing thing. So, any other questions on that? So the other thing today, I think I might have mentioned to one of you or something. I did have a pre-application conference this morning with a proposed developer up on what we always call the Winters property. They don't own it anymore. But Plamondon and the Toledo Vader Highway. It actually is in the middle of the desk here. And so we met with them and their engineers. Their proposals for 100 homes. We asked if they were looking at phasing it. No, they would like to do it all at once. We're up against, we don't have enough hookups for 100 homes at this time. So we're trying to figure this out if we can, in our water comp plan update, since we have the new water tower too, that would probably provide some additional hookups for Toledo. I think we have around 50, 60 that we have right now. And a lot of this goes back to, we've had an application in for additional water rights for over 25, 30 years that's just sat there. And we've been working really hard this last year with some water right attorneys and other consultants on doing some things to get additional water rights. One of the things that we want to do is do additional pumping at our well number 1. We have 2 wells, well number 1 and well number 2. Currently, we only are allowed 90 gallons per minute. And a lot of people think, well, that's pretty good, but you can't do it 24 hours. Even though you're allowed 90 gallons per minute, it's not around the clock 24 hours. So there is time frames in there too. But what we want to do is do a test on it with a bigger pump and, put it up to like 200 gallons per minute, 240, do a test for 24 hours. Unfortunately, we have to waste all that water that we're pumping to see what happens with the drawdown. If it draws down and can't, recoup to a certain level, then we know that well is not a good source and we won't be able to get it, the additional water rights from that well. Which is the best case scenario, is if we can draw it down from that well, because Cowlitz is a closed basin, and the Cowlitz Basin is all these little subsidiaries along the Cowlitz. And what has happened is, and even if you read our water comp plan, it says that we're in the Lacamas Basin. Well, in hiring this water rights attorney and these other water people, what they had found out is there's this little tiny area that our well is in, and it's called, escapes me right now.
Yeah.
That I'd never heard of before. And even in our water comp plan, it's never mentioned it. I mean, this was new to our engineers. It's new to all our water guys. Well, when they closed the Cowlitz Basin, the upper Cowlitz Basin, not the full Cowlitz Basin, it's just the upper. When they closed off a lot of these basins, they named that basin and they closed it, but then they opened it and they haven't closed it again. Whether that's a mistake by ecology, who knows? So we're pushing that, hey, that area is open, because a lot of people say, well, why don't you just put a well up on the hill? Which is where we actually need a well for, fire flow and all that. So we don't have to put a bunch of booster stations in and stuff. It's in a different basin. So there's several, like I said, so that is all really confusing, the whole water basins and, things. So anyway, we will be doing a test on this well. We were able to do kind of a short test the other day, last week, and our engineer came out and they wanted to see if our pumps could actually pump that amount, because our pumps are old. And otherwise we would have had to, hire a firm to come in with their pumps to do this test even. And our pumps were totally capable of doing it. And they drew it down, and we're pumping 240 gallons a minute. And it went down to like 4 to 5 feet was all, and just kind of stayed at there. And then when they stopped pumping, it started recovering immediately.
Nice.
So it was a very good thing that happened there. And we used to pump more out of it, and then ecology came back and kind of slapped our hands. You're not supposed to pump that much water. So I think it's going to be a good thing. It's just, this has taken so much time. We've put in for a cost reimbursement assessment that was $5,400, and we're trying to, we're paying out a lot of money to these other attorneys and water people and trying to get our way to the top to get those additional rights. And I don't know if enough information is going to come in soon enough for these people that want to develop. So that's a long way. I guess it's a long way to get back to that. And they're hoping to put an application in this spring, like a full application that has everything that would go to the planning commission. And you guys would have the public review on that. And then your recommendation to city council. And they're hoping that they could do it this spring and start building this summer. So we're in this tight line with our engineering firm. I know you guys all knew John Hinton. You've met him, I think. He did retire. We met with the president of the company and had a few words. And the president of the company has taken over this project. And I can say he immediately brought down to us a plan of action with dates, expected dates. And I've, sent stuff off to him. And I sent something today at 3:30. And he had the answers back to me before 5 or right around 5-ish. So I'm feeling a lot more confident in the engineering firm and knowing how critical this is to us. And, even with these developers, the window's ripe for them, and they don't want to miss the window before things start tanking. And so, because they'll be putting in millions of dollars because there's the line still has to get up there, the water and the sewer lines. And I've also, the plans for the water sewer lines to go all the way up to Pomondon and down to Toledo Tel is 60% complete. I've done a short review on it today, which is totally out of my realm. And I know our public works director is looking at it too for any comments back to the engineering firm. And it looks fine to me. I don't know what I'm looking at, so it looks fine, but it would be it's a full lane restoration too, but it could be a full road restoration, that whole direction also.
Wow.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Paid for by the developer?
Possibly. Yes. Yes. So I have, a few developers that's, they're ready to dig and ready to do it themselves. But of course, if I could get other monies, they're going to be happier.
Oh, of course.
So that was a comment too, that, if the city were able to secure some funding for those lines, would you be amicable to, start with 50 and do a phase? So, because right now, it's so much money out of their pocket, they want the biggest bang for the buck, but I kind of feel like with working with the EDC and 0.09 funds, we're creating jobs. There's a lot of things that we can, potentially get some funding to help. And Toledo Tel, they're ready to do something there too.
Yeah.
So,
and they just got money too.
Yeah.
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 So.
Have they given any indication of what their price point's going to be on their homes?
We did not ask.
We will.
So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it doesn't really matter what their price point is, whether it's $1 million or what. I mean, we need to encourage lower income homes, but what does that really mean? I know when the tribe was looking at putting in what they considered low income homes over 10 years ago, that low income home was at $240,000, which I felt was pretty high for a low income home 10 years ago. So, to deny something, you have to have some pretty good reasons. Otherwise, you're going to be tied up in legal fees. So
I'm not talking about denying them. I think that the Planning Commission would behoove itself to have an understanding of what types of homes they're going to be building, what their potential profitability is going to be on 100 homes. And we get some kind of an idea of our impact fees and what we might reasonably ask that they participate in.
We do not have impact fees.
Yes, yet.
Did you mean like in terms of how much of the road we would want them to build, or?
Yeah, as part of their conditions of approval for a vesting map for that property, they might have to participate in some of the infrastructure work that serves that property. And if they're going to be building $100 million homes, then we have an idea of what kind of money there is to go around.
Well, the city doesn't have money to put into the project. So the city does not have money to put into the project. So it would be all developer, or like I said, if there is some other funding available, that could help. But the city does not have the funding to put into the project.
Yeah, but it's like the Lowe's situation. We don't want to find ourselves realizing that we needed to buy a looking ladder fire truck because we can't fight a fire at their building. And in this particular instance, there are things that are going to be our bus stops along the route that are going to serve that community, sidewalks down to the main street.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. They're aware of all that.
Okay.
Yeah. And then they'll have to put in, all the streets in the development, sidewalks, a park, all that. So I made them well aware of too what was in our comprehensive plan and our land regs, because that is, those type of things are spelled out in the land development regulations. And because they had a few questions on it, and this is what it is. I found a typo. I was like, oh my gosh.
I've been over this so many times.
I know.
Well, I think this comes back to the conversation that we had during the land regs update, is, the kind of in-kind efforts that a developer would step up to.
Yeah, under mini parks, the definition, instead of parent, it said patent.
Oh really?
I was like, oh my gosh, I've read this so many times. I've never caught it till today. When I'm in a meeting with people, I'm reading it. Yeah, it was funny.
All right. Well, so that's interesting. When's the next time we're going to hear about them? Or
we're working with them, and because they're wanting more information, obviously, what kind of hookups are going to be available. And so we're staying in direct contact with their engineering firm. And that's why I wrote a bunch of questions to our engineer this afternoon after my meeting with them, trying to get some answers.
Are they a Washington-based developer?
Yes. Live local.
Oh. That's good.
Yeah.
That's a pretty big chunk to bite off at one time, 100 homes at a time.
Yeah, it's ambitious, man.
So, I mean, they're not long-term local, but they live local now. New local.
All right. Interesting.
All right. Okay.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. And was that all the housing action plan? Do we move now to general discussion?
That was pretty much general
Okay.
discussion. Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
And any public input? Anything else? Then I will move to adjourn. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I will move to adjourn.
I will second the motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. And it's adjourned then.
Enjoy Arizona.
Yeah, man, get some good Mexican food down there. I miss it.
Yes, a lot of areas to do that and get some suntan on the top of my toes.
Donna just screwed up a couple days ago, let it go, it's down there.